No, this is damning. It really is.
Aja Wilson is setting the tone, demanding accountability like she owns the team. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's off-season grind has fans buzzing, convinced she's leveling up like a video game hero. One leader is pushing her squad to new heights, while the other is locked in, training like a champion on a mission. So what's really going on? Let's break it down, because this storyline is as fierce as Aja's leadership.
So Caitlin Clark in college was not the strongest player in the world. Like, she was somebody that wasn't weak by any means, but we saw when it came to the WNBA that she wasn't able to really assert herself physically, and in fairness, her first game matchup was a tough one because her first matchup was against
Aja Wilson isn't holding back. She's challenging her teammates like she wasn't right there for the Aces roller coaster season. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is in full beast mode, training so intensely that fans are joking she's ready to join the Avengers. One star is shaking things up with her words, while the other is making noise with pure hustle. And social media can't get enough of it.
It wasn't a championship locker room, Wilson said. I mean, out of the gate, going into training camp, I was like, we ain't got it. Wow. Okay. That's crazy. I always told myself, we're going to get it. We're going to check each box, but we didn't.
Last season, Aja Wilson stood by her teammates through the Aces' struggles, or so it seemed. Now she's flipping the script, holding them accountable like she wasn't in the trenches with them. Instead of shouldering the team's setbacks, she's pointing fingers at the locker room. But was it really all on them, Aja? Fans aren't so sure.
Caitlin Clark is carrying the WNBA, and the numbers prove it. But guess what? Some so-called experts are downplaying her impact. CBS reporters actually said she's not the one moving the sport forward. Seriously? Clark is responsible for over 20% of WNBA sales.
Caitlin Clark is on a whole new level, and fans are loving it. She's faster, stronger, and more explosive. You can see it in her refined physique and relentless drive. She's built to take over. The best athletes don't just hear criticism, they use it as fuel. And Caitlin? She's not just proving the doubters wrong, she's making a statement with every move.
You know how the league plays, if nothing else.
Yes, she is stronger, first and foremost. And again, she's got a lot of self-awareness. And, she figured that out, right away. Like, I need to get stronger. I can't get knocked around as much. And so she's done a great job of getting in the weight room and really focusing on her areas that she needs to focus on in terms of strength, in terms of, low center of gravity, time under tension, like all of those things. I think the next step is...
Caitlin Clark is locked in, turning every bit of criticism into motivation to elevate her game. Aja Wilson? Instead of owning the moment, she's shifting the blame. Sure, she's got a ring, but now that adversity has hit, she's throwing teammates under the bus like she's got a license for it. If Caitlin had that mindset, she'd be stuck in the gym making excuses instead of leveling up. But that's just not who she is. While Caitlin leads with action, Aja is caught up in the blame game. Maybe instead of finding scapegoats, she should take a page from Caitlin's playbook.
This guy was working out when something unexpected happened that freaked everyone out. You could see the surprise on the face of the woman next to him, clearly concerned by the unusual noise that erupted. But instead of panicking, he remained completely unfazed. As it turns out, he was just cracking his back, a sound that might have seemed alarming at first. He gave it another crack in a different position, proving he was totally fine.
Caitlin Clark doesn't need to talk. Her work ethic says it all. With added strength and a quicker first step, she's gearing up to be an even bigger nightmare for defenders next season. Meanwhile, Aja Wilson? She's already lining up excuses in case things don't go her way again. While Aja keeps pointing fingers, Caitlin keeps putting in the work, and fans are all in. The 2025 season hasn't even tipped off, but Caitlin is already making her mark. As Aja shifts blame, Caitlin just keeps grinding.
That you all have to keep in mind is that the Las Vegas Aces do not have a GM right now. They let go of their GM a couple months ago, and they have not put anyone in that place. And so, hey, Nikki Fargas and Becky Hammon are trying to make some wonders without an actual GM. So let's get into specifically what has been happening. So the latest departures for the Las Vegas Aces include 2 heavy hitters off the bench and 2 former 2023 and 2024.
Caitlin Clark took one look at last season's chaos and made a decision. Never again. Remember how defenders swarmed her like it was a football scrimmage? She was double-teamed at the grocery store, full court pressed at the gas pump, and taking flagrant fouls just walking to her car. It was unreal. But instead of complaining, cough Aja Wilson cough, Caitlin got to work. No distractions, no luxury getaways, no I need to rest my body excuses. Just 6 relentless months of grinding. And now, every defender who tested her last season is about to regret it.
I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. I feel like there's just so many areas that I want to improve in and to continue to get in the gym and work on that every
When you're talking about GOATs of the W, I need my name to be up there, at least top 3. Like, that's my goal, is like, I want something like, when you're thinking of women's basketball, when you're thinking of the W, I want my name to be on it.
Come on, tell them, Asia, tell them.
Takes, like, whatever it needs to get there, whether it's the rings, whether it's the accolades individually, like, I want to be up there.
This offseason, Aja Wilson has been busy, but not in the gym. Instead, she's been on a full-fledged excuse tour. I was tired. We had injuries. The refs didn't give us calls. Really? The Aces were gifted a super team and still crumbled when it mattered most. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark? She took hit after hit like she was playing in the NFL and never said a word. No complaints, no excuses, just straight to work. And now, she looks like she trained in a Marvel montage. You thought her deep threes were wild before? Now she's pulling up from the parking lot. You thought she was tough? Now she's dropping 40 while carrying defenders like backpacks. And the scariest part? She's just getting started. And Aja? She's still explaining last season's collapse. It was a long year. Yeah? Caitlin's season was just as brutal, and she spent every second making sure defenders will need therapy after guarding her. It was fatigue. Really? Because Caitlin's been locked in the gym for 6 straight months. No breaks, no distractions, just pure grind. Let's be real. Caitlin showing up to camp looking like a superhero while Aja arrives with another excuse is comedy gold. One has been putting in the work. The other has been pointing fingers. One is stacking muscle. The other is stacking blame. One is gearing up to dominate. The other? She's about to drop another "it wasn't my fault" interview. The seasons hasn't even started, but you already know what's coming. Aja will be on the sideline saying, "We gotta stay locked in," while Caitlin is sending defenders into witness protection. Aja will be looking for sympathy, but all she's getting is a courtside seat to the Clark show. Last season, the league threw everything at Caitlin to slow her down. Now, they're about to face a version of her that looks like she spent the off-season training with The Rock. And Aja? She'll still be out here blaming the refs, the schedule, maybe even the weather.
Got a beautiful season, the Indiana Fever, based on what they did last year before she got there, based on how they look now since she's gotten there.
They're gonna make the playoffs, Ocho, and they didn't do that last year.
Yeah, it ain't rocket science. Sis is good.
But y'all didn't think she heard all the comment about her not deserving? You don't get to the level she got to without using some type of fuel.
Aja Wilson spent the offseason shifting blame, and now she's in full PR mode, telling fans to relax. Relax? Ma'am, the roster is vanishing before our eyes. Sydney Colson left, and Aces fans reacted like their house just went up in flames. Meanwhile, Aja is in the locker room calling people out, like she wasn't part of the problem. But let's get to the real kicker. Kelsey Plum's exit. She leaves Vegas, lands in LA, and what's the first thing she says? "I've never been treated so well." Yikes. That one had to hurt. You know things were rough when someone willingly leaves the Aces for the Sparks and suddenly acts like they hit the jackpot. That's like ditching a luxury resort and saying, wow, this motel with the broken AC and stale snack machine food is the best stay of my life.
Staley taught her that a winning team should, quote, look, sound, and feel a certain way. I gotta tell you, there's a lot that one could take out of that right there. Wilson said that the Aces didn't meet those standards.
Aja, Wilson is looking around like, wait, why is everyone leaving? Girl, maybe because the vibes are awful. Maybe players got tired of the dictatorship in that locker room. But nope, according to Aja, it's never her fault. First, it was management. Then, it was roster decisions. Next thing you know, she'll be blaming arena security for letting people in the wrong way. And Aces fans? Oh, they were in full meltdown mode over Sydney Coulson leaving, acting like they just lost a franchise legend. Meanwhile, Aja hops on Twitter with the classic stay calm. We're going to be fine. Fine? Where? That super team just fell apart. And at this rate, one bad trade could have them looking like last year's Indiana Fever. Now Aja wants to play the leader, holding everything together? Oh, now she's the voice of reason? Nah, she spent all off-season pointing fingers and now she's suddenly the peacemaker? That's like crashing a car and then offering to call an Uber. Too late for that. But hey, Aces fans, look on the bright side. At this rate, y'all might as well start scouting for a 3-on-3 league, because the roster is disappearing fast.
One more for you. No playoffs since 2020, no championship since 2016 for the Sparks, who at one point were one of the marquee franchises in the WNBA. What's your timeline for getting back to that level?
Taking a day at a time. But I do know that in everything that I do, I will win. So I feel very confident about who I am and what I can bring. Because it doesn't matter me being here if I don't affect winning. But I know I can do that at the highest level, so that's what I'm most excited about.
OC Aces fans are not handling this well. Their superstar Aja Wilson is watching teammates walk away. And just like that, Vegas doesn't feel so invincible anymore. You hate to see it. Actually, scratch that. Every other WNBA team is thriving off this downfall, especially the Indiana Fever, who are making serious moves in free agency. Let's be honest, Aces fans have been living the easy life for too long, sitting back, sipping overpriced Vegas cocktails, and watching their super team dominate while the rest of the league struggled. But now they're panicking because the Fever are out here building a squad that actually wants to win. The audacity, the nerve. How dare Indiana refuse to be a punching bag this season? Somebody check on Aces fans, because at this rate, they're one more roster change away from a full-blown crisis.
With breaking news, can y'all stop, please? Sydney Coulson, another big signing. They got their backup point guard, a two-time champion, so now they got even more past champions on their team. Indiana Fever ain't playing around. They are not messing around. They getting their starting five together and they backups. Now you got legitimate points coming off the bench. Now you got a legitimate point guard that's not going to turn the ball over like Erica Wheeler did most of the time.
Let's talk about Caitlin Clark. Did she have to level up this much? Not really. But did she still hit the gym and take her game to an entirely new level? Absolutely. It's like she woke up one day and decided, you know what? Let me go ahead and break the WNBA. She was already draining logo threes like they were layups. And now, her release is even quicker, her handles are even tighter, and her basketball IQ somehow just got sharper. The Fever didn't just draft a star, they drafted a nightmare for every other team in the league. And Aja Wilson? Oh, she's definitely not thrilled about this. She's been the face of the WNBA, but that spotlight is about to get a whole lot more crowded. Caitlin Clark isn't just bringing talent, she's bringing an entire wave of fans and momentum with her. And with Indiana stacking up talent in free agency, This team isn't just hoping for a playoff spot. They might just shake up the entire league. And the best part? Aces fans can't do anything about it, except brace themselves for what's coming.
When Curry met his class teacher, his reaction was so real and cute. When Curry's high school teacher decided to take his wife to watch Curry's game, he wanted to see if the student who hadn't seen him for many years still remembered his class teacher. After they arrived in Oakland, they bought Curry's jersey and prepared to give it to him for an autograph. They arrived at the stadium early and stayed by the players' tunnel, worried that they would miss the encounter with Curry. The teacher seemed a little nervous. When Curry came to
the Indiana Fever aren't just rebuilding, they're gearing up to take over. With Caitlin Clark at the helm, this squad is quickly becoming the most dangerous Indiana team in years. And the scary part? They're just getting started. The Fever are stacking talent, building chemistry, and setting the foundation for something special. Meanwhile, the Aces? They might want to keep an eye on their rearview mirror because their grip on the league isn't looking so secure anymore. So, Fever fans, get hyped. Aces fans, prepare yourselves. And Aja Wilson? She might have to get comfortable sharing the spotlight because the league is shifting fast, and Caitlin Clark is the one leading the charge.